Back up, clear to the front, start over. Back up, back, back. You're at the end, go to the other way, the beginning, please. It's called reverse. There we go, okay. So in this scenario, we have to involve everybody. So we got bankers, we got commodities brokers, we got farm equipment suppliers, equipment rental suppliers, inputs, our piece, and the most important piece is our farmer or our rancher. Next. So the other thing I forgot to mention is insurance. Insurance is a vital part today. So the other piece is extension service. So in order to make this thing work, next, we start off if we have the bank. Bank has the money. With the new B of O bank program out there, they got capitalized. They have money that they can loan to farmers and ranchers on a small scale. I'm talking about for 2 hectares, 4 hectares, 10 cows, 100 cows. You don't have to have 10,000 hectares. Then we have the commodities broker or the consumer. That's who will buy the product. Then we have the agri input companies. Those are the ones that will supply, if it's the cow people, they'll provide feed. If it's the farmers, they'll provide seed, they'll provide fertilizer. Then we have the farmer, which the farmer or the rancher is everything. He's the one that's giving you the product that everybody else is going to make money off of. But to make this happen, we need the extension service. We need them to verify that you are real. If you say you have 2 cows, then he's got to go verify that you have 2 cows and report it back to the database so everybody in the chain knows that you're real. Then we have insurance, in case of the rain and anything else, and bugs and pests and the whole 9 yards. Our equipment companies. Then last is the market or the commodities person. Next. So here's how that we make it work. The farmer, I'm sorry I put farmers on here, but it's farmers or cattlemen, one of the two. I'm not leaving you guys out, okay? So the first thing you do is we have an administration company that handles this whole package for us as the company. The farmer or the herdsman goes in and registers, and he says, this is my location, and especially with herdsmen, like I say, in the future, it's coming. If your cows are in a pen or in a pasture, they're a lot more for collateral than if you say, well, I'm running 5 states. The cows walk off a lot that way. So those are things to think about. The farmers, the farmer will come in and register and say, I got 2 hectares, I'm going to raise corn, I'm going to raise cowpea, whatever I'm going to raise, they'll put that in there. Then his registration form will move over to the extension service. The extension service will go out and verify. They will check him to make sure he's real. They'll ask all the neighbors around and find out, did he raise a crop last year? Is he a real farmer? Can he really do the job? So there are people that will be in the field. Is he going to go check out and find out how many cows you got? And are they identified? Do they have a tag? Are they branded? Are they identified? They will take that verification slip and load that into the database. Now, everybody that's involved will know that information without having to re-ask. So then they say, okay, I need to figure out a way to make money. So he will go to the commodities broker, which can be the purchaser, or it can be, we can have 5 commodities brokers, it doesn't matter who. And he say, I will give you 200,000 a ton for your 4 hectares of corn. And you'll have a set price at that day. Now we are controlling the price. We know exactly how much we're getting for our crop the day we sign the contract. That's called a forward contract. That forward contract is as good as gold. So now we've proven you can do it. Now we have a contract that says, as the panel last time was talking, they said if you got a bag of corn, that's collateral. Well, we got an empty bag of corn, but we're going to fill it so it's still collateral with a forward contract because we have a price no matter what. Our only risk is if we raise the crop, which we have insurance on. So then once we take this forward contract, we take it to the financing and insurance. We get insurance and we go to the bank and we say, Mr. Banker, I personally am borrowing this money. It's not a cooperative. It's not nobody else. It's me. So now the farmer or the rancher is borrowing the money himself. He knows it. It's not a free program. It's not a grant. It's nothing else. It's business. We're bringing all the farmers and ranchers into business. Now, once he says, okay, you got your forward contract? Yes. You need enough to finance 2 hectares of corn. Okay, you'll figure out that price and you'll figure out how much money he will borrow you. Next. So then when you get that figured out, then also in this same complex is the input suppliers. There can be 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, whoever you want to use. So you go over there and you say, I need corn seed, I need chemical, I need this, I need that. You go make a deal with your input provider right there. The banker will pay whatever you agree on because it's yours. You're buying it. You're taking it out to plant it. You need to go over and disc the ground, so you go see the equipment company, and they'll go out there and they'll do your ground, and the banker will pay that bill for you. So far, we've seen no cash move in our hands, but we've got everything we needed. Last is your extension service. They're the ones that are going to have to keep checking. They said we need extension service people, but there's extension service people that are out there. There's companies that are out there. So we will make sure, no, we won't have one for 18 hectares. We're going to make sure we got enough people there that are verifying that you're raising your crop. The cows stay in the feedlot. The cows stay in the pasture. We're going to verify this, and if you need help, we're going to have training sessions, and we train you. And so you can reach that goal that you told the forward contractor you're going to get. If you say you're going to get 4 tons of corn, they want to make sure you get 4 tons of corn. So you got your training and your production levels that somebody's going to keep watching you. This is security for the bank. If the bank knows that you're being watched, he can go home and drink coffee at night and be happy. And so the thing of it is this allows the bank to be on the farm. You don't have to run to town. You don't have to go nowhere. The bank is going to be in your central area where it's going to be. Then it comes time when everything's ready to go. Whether the cattle are fat and ready to sell or slaughter, or the corn is ready to bring in from harvest, you'll harvest the crop, you'll bring it into the commodities broker, you already have your price set. The only difference is how much did you bring in. You bring it in, you can sell the value of what you have on your forward contract. The market people will pay the loan, the bank, put the balance of the money in your account. Now everything's finished. Now you go out and worry about your next season. So all this was put in place, and you done business. It's just a matter of technology today. The extension service, same thing. They get a little piece out of the sale, but everything is there. It's better than losing a crop. The consumer and the commodities broker means the consumer, I need the feed to feed my cows. I need the cows to slaughter. So as the consumer, or if it's even just a broker, he needs the feed or the seed that he is buying. So all of a sudden they benefit. Next. The insurance company, naturally, you got to pay insurance premium. They make money. The bank, they get their percentage of the deal. The input guy, he gets his percentage. But this is all you would get anyway. We're not taking anything or charging any more than if you took it to the market and took a risk on what the price was. And your market is established the day you get your forward contract. So all partners in this value chain have benefited. Everybody went to work, and we hope everybody made money in the end. Next. The empowerment of thousands of farmers in modern agriculture. This can be done in blocks all over the country. Sustainable income growth and food security. This will help produce better food, more food. Strengthen agribusiness eco-financial system where every partner profits. And it's a scalable model. It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be little. It can be anywhere in between in numbers of hectares. Next. So, call to action. The Agri Empowerment Program is not just about farming. It's about creating a profitable, inclusive, and sustainable ecosystem. With proper investment and partnership, this model can transform agriculture into a driver of prosperity for small farmers and corporations alike. But this is dealing with the small farmer. Everybody forgets about the farmer, but the big farmer can help the small farmer this way. But every small farmer is a businessman himself. And that's what this country needs to turn into. So as we say, together we can grow. Okay? Conclusion, more than farming, agriculture is a profession that can be a sustainable lifetime career for creating a means of financing. We can make agriculture careers more attractive to young people. This will help ensure that the next generation is equipped with skills, knowledge, and needed to maintain our food production system. And with that, I wish us all good luck.
Once more, a resounding round of applause for Engineer Jerry Cunningham. Thank you so much, sir. And to usher us to the last segment of today's activity, we'll have the last plenary session, which will be on the topic Agro-Industrialization in Africa, Partnership for New Financing Models, Showcasing Innovation, the SAPZ. And to help us as our facilitator for tonight will be Mr. Roland Oro, the Managing Director, Commodities Development Initiative, Abuja. Please a round of applause for him. Our panelists will have Mr. Olayinka Majakudumi. He's a partner, Boston Consulting Group. A round of applause, please. Thank you, sir. We also have Dr. Olumide Ojo, the Strategy Director, UK Aid PropCom Plus. A round of applause. We've got Alhaji Sharif Balogun, the President, Federation of Agricultural Commodity Association of Nigeria. A round of applause. And joining us tonight virtually on this program will be Ilyasu Ishak, the Robust International Commodities Limited, Yamoussoukro, Cote d'Ivoire. A round of applause, please. I'll now hand the microphone over to the facilitator, Mr. Roland Oro.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, MC, and good evening, everyone. All right, my panelists, thank you so much for joining us today. Agricultural value chains and drive industrialization. Let me tell you the significance of this. Cocoa, let's take one of the commodities, cocoa beans, all right? Cocoa beans and the chocolate value chain. At the base of it, you have cocoa beans, right? Am I correct? Yes. Please, I want us to make it as interactive as possible, okay? Cocoa beans is the foundation of the chocolate industry. The value of that segment is about $15, $16, $17 billion every year, tradable value. Now, when you move up the supply chain, when you add value, when you look at the other ancillary and associated services that goes into the industry to make chocolates and other consumables, you're talking about almost what food program, what food price. We want to go with some position, with some initiative, with some ideas that can help us make a case for Africa's agro-industrialization. And the special agro-industrial processing zones are a case study. It's a pilot that we're showcasing, and we're going to talk about it today. So without much ado, gentlemen, I'm going to launch into the conversation. So we'll go around, and then we'll also, allow the audience to also participate, so that we can harvest some thoughts and ideas from the audience, because there's a couple of people with ideas, experience over the years that we can harvest from. Is that a good plan? Yeah, all right. So I would like to call on, maybe we'll just quickly introduce, we'll just go around, okay? I'll open the session with just maybe one or two questions, and then I'll just call on maybe two persons. Boston guy from Boston Consulting, So tell us, what's your perception of the special agro-industrial processing zone? What do you think, do you see it as capable of helping to really mobilize? I mean, you're doing something on cassava, right? Yeah, tell us about it briefly, what your company is doing with the federal government, and how you see that as a case study, to really mobilize financing for agro-industrialization in Nigeria. Then after that, I'll come to Alhaji Sheriff Balogun. Balogun, you sit on a very important seat. You head the Association of Community Associations. I'll come to you after the intervention from Samaje Kudom. Yeah, over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good afternoon, everybody. And it's a pleasure to be discussing with you all today. My name is Olayinka Majekodunmi. I am part of the Nigeria Cassava Investment Accelerator Initiative. It's an initiative that is led by the Lagos Business School and working very collaboratively with the government of Nigeria. And the mandate is simple. It's to unlock investments into the cassava value chain as a lens to catalyze industrialization of that value chain, as well as to unlock economic value to the country at large, but more importantly to small-scale or smallholder farmers in terms of productivity and income. The interesting thing about the Nigeria Cassava Investment Accelerator that could be a learning for the SAPZs is that it's a very innovative approach where the investment accelerator acts as an orchestrator. As we know, the agri landscape, and in the case cassava landscape, can be fragmented, and whether it's on the production side or on the processing side. Now, what the NCI does, one, is to scan the landscape and identify high-impact opportunities. So these are processors, either brownfield or greenfield, who have fairly developed value chains and opportunities. We work with them to clearly articulate the investable opportunities that they have. So that's one. And off of that, the NCI has built a pipeline of robust projects that investors can invest in. The second thing the NCI does that's innovative is actually to work with these, in this case, processors, to enable them to be investment ready. Because as we heard during the earlier platform, it's not an absence of funding. It's actually a mismatch of funding where available funding pools are not matching what the processors ideally would want or what the farmers and producers want. And so one of the things we do as the NCI is to work hand in hand with the processors to help them fulfill some of the requirements that will enable them access and unlock available funding pools. And the third thing we then do is we work with the ecosystem actors, including the funders, whether it's the commercial banks, the development financial institutions, the private equity and VC funds, and we mobilize them on a deal-by-deal basis to actually help de-risk and enable funding to be unlocked. The NCI has been on now for about 9 months and has actually achieved really good success in enabling catalytic deals that have transformational impact, not just with the processors, but downstream through outgrower schemes and working with cooperative farmers. So that's the NCI model, and I think that it can actually be amplified through the special agri-processing zones because it's a very concentrated effort where the zones are close to production, crowding in the processors, so that way you're guaranteeing offtakes from the producers. You're able to factor in and design the right funding mechanisms, the right partnerships, and in that way, the SAPZs can help unlock value across the full chain. So I think that orchestration can be truly transformative to drive industrialization.
Thank you so much, Mr. Madokumi, for telling us what you guys are doing at the National Cassava Investment Accelerator. So let me come to Sheriff Balogun. I mean, we know that the financing gap in Africa is about, somebody estimated about $33 billion. I heard it in one of the sessions just now, So let me ask you, what do you think, I mean, why is it now the time, to really, come up with ideas? I mean, we see what the National Cassava Program is doing, and also the SAPZ program. Why is it now? Why do you think now is the right time to really identify innovative, ideas, to mobilize financing to address some of these gaps?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Roland. And just like Maja Kodomi spoke about the cassava initiative, and I think that can reflect on other commodities as well. So this is just taking one particular commodity and giving it all the support and all the financing and all, the policy that needs to make it work. And that can translate across all the other commodities. Now actually serves us the best time to look at this. First, if you look at what gives us the most employment in Nigeria, agriculture. Now, when you look at food security, it translates onto other things. So looking at the rising figures, of course, in terms of what agriculture provides and contributes to our GDP, you can see the decline in oil, of course, and then agriculture provides renewable resources. I mean, it's no brainer that this is what we should be looking at. And like you mentioned, the gap actually is about $65 billion. And despite that gap, you can find out that only about 5% of the total funding that goes out from the bank is related to agriculture. We have over $65 billion gap, and we're putting in just 5%. But then, if you sit down, make an analysis and look at what can we get from the little adding more investment into agriculture, you see the multiplier effect. So I think the SAPZ is coming in at the right time, which is focusing on aggregating producers, processors, in one location or geolocation, so that that gap between processing, manufacturing is closed, and then you have the chain where one process will lead to solving the other process. Manufacturers are looking for raw material. The raw material is there. And the farmers or local producers are also looking for financing. So you can have an easy tie-up in one location who provides answer to all. So one sort of, I would say, one-stop shop that will solve these problems. So now is the time, that we really need to come out with innovative financing. There are many schemes that can be put in place. We just came up from the session on livestock where, there was a model that was preferred when somebody is doing fattening and all of that. And then you look at the issue of providing silage for those crops. What stops us from developing like a pay-as-you-go sort of silage or fodder control for the animals? So these are innovations that we need to look at in providing answers to a lot of these problems. And also, for FACAN, we try to bring together the farmers and have them have a stake, have a skin in the game. You want to seek financing, you also have to do something. So in terms of coming together and seeing how you pull in little funds that will catalyze your access to greater funding. So I think the SAPZ, looking at what they have done in other countries, we heard it today that Ethiopia now is self-sufficient in wheat production. That's part of what the SAPZ has been able to bring from a net importer to a net exporter. So I think now is the time for us as Nigerians to put in all that we need to do so that we're able to achieve food sovereignty. Thank you.
I think the point is very clear. Now is the time, for us to act. We need to act fast because time waits for no one. I mean, we're hearing the story of Ethiopia, attaining self-sufficiency in wheat production. Nigeria has a lot of, I mean, we are number one in several value chains in terms of production. But in terms of value addition, we need to really move fast, and I think now is the time. I agree with you very strongly, Mr. Balogun, that now is the time. Now, let's move over to PropCom. I mean, you are a donor-funded project, and PropCom has actually I worked with PropCom at the earlier phase in 2005. PropCom, I mean, we know that PropCom Plus, you have an edge in market systems, proposal systems, you integrate inclusive market systems, right?
Yep.
Now, how do you see that playing out? I mean, how can we use that to really, make the case for the SAPZ as an inclusive model that will be attractive to government, impact investors? I mean, we're talking about leveraging catalytic capital, impact funds, what role do you see, not just PropCom now, but other development partners or project, donor-funded projects, working with the SAPZ promoters and governments to leverage financing so that we can really accelerate our industrialization? Yeah, over to you, Mr.
Thanks. Thanks so much.
Ojo.
Thanks to colleagues on the panel who have spoken. Like you said, PropCom Plus is a market system development program. What that implies is the program try to stimulate efficient functioning and better working together of the market. And when I say the market, I mean across different value chain. When you look at it, the functioning of an ecosystem depends largely on the weakest link in that ecosystem. And that is actually what has been the bane of sustainable financing within the agricultural space for quite a while. So what we do at PropCom Plus is to identify the key systemic failure and the different critical constraints within a market system where things are not working. And we ask ourselves the key questions about what are those things that are not working and why are they not working? And who is it that's supposed to make them work? Rather than we jumping into it and displace the market actor who's supposed to be playing that key role. For instance, we all talk about funding, financing, and everyone we say that there is lack of access to finance in agriculture. And the tendency is there, the temptation is always there for donors to come in and begin to dish out resources. And when we do that, what we're doing is to further contaminate the market. We are not addressing the root cause, but we're rather treating the symptom, which will further weaken that market system because we would have displaced the market actors, the lenders, the financiers, who's supposed to be playing that key role. So in connection to SAPZ in this regard, what we see in SAPZ is that SAPZ is addressing and providing solutions to critical issues in agricultural industrialization, infrastructure, processing, marketing. When you bring all of this together, they are at the center of industrialization. And until we achieve industrialization in agriculture, the challenges will still remain. Now, when we bring the key issues of infrastructure, processing, and marketing together, which SAPZ is doing, development programs can come in to provide some sort of catalytic funding or provide some sort of a system-enabling mechanism that will make these three pillars to work more closely together to deliver results. And in terms of sustainability in this regard now, I will actually be thinking that the SAPZ model, which is quite interesting, and impactful as well, should be democratized. What I mean by democratizing it is, let's get it copy and pasted down to the last mile. So we have the SAPZ, which is an aggregation of infrastructure, processing, the processing ecosystem, the market, and when we have all these, three, finance will come in there, insurance will come in there, logistics will come in there. Now, if we find a way to kind of create some smaller prototype of SAPZ and paste them in local areas, at the local government level, for instance. Imagine if we have each of the 774 local government in Nigeria having just one agro-based industry, creating jobs, turning raw materials, adding value to raw materials, like you said, because the profit progression from primary production to marketing is quite disproportionate. And if we stay at the level of primary production, which is largely what is happening in the rural area, poverty will remain endemic. So that kind of systemic issue is what Program Plus look at, come forward to provide some solution to. So, and the way we do it also is to, is to bring in innovation. Innovation through piloting of different models, things that ordinarily market actors wouldn't want to do. They didn't want to risk their resources to doing it. Program Plus can come in to provide some initial de-risking in that regard. If I do justice to your question, Roland. Yeah.
I hear you very strongly. I mean, so let the SAPZ concept take root, and then we use that model, copy, paste it, and take it down to local level, community level, so we have a broad-based and scalable approach, and then, of course, we achieve agro, industrialization through that process. I think that's a very strong takeaway. All right, I will come back to the panelists to take your last words, but let's take thoughts from the audience. I'm sure some of us have comments, questions, Yes. Oh, yes. So, I mean, let's not forget our colleague, Mr. Ishak, who is online. Yes, please tell us, let's meet you and tell us how you are working in Cote d'Ivoire and how the SAPZ concept, how you see us, using it, working there, and then in the light of the, the Africa Free Trade, area, how do you see this concept, promoting regional trade? Thank you.
Yeah, so good evening, everyone. I hope I'm very much audible. Can you confirm, can hear me? Right?
Yes, we can hear you very well. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. So thanks, Roland, for your question. And let me start by apologizing for my inability to be physically present together with you. As you may know, I'm currently in Abidjan, Yamoussoukro, actually, in Cote d'Ivoire. I would have loved to be with you, but due to some travel disruption that has prevented me from being able to be with you. So pardon me by joining virtually and contributing to this insightful discussion virtually. To answer your questions, SAPZ is really, really a game changer in effort to industrialize Africa's agriculture sector. I think we need not to talk about the importance of SAPZ, because that has been demonstrated already. If we take countries like Ethiopia, I think two among the three panelists made reference to Ethiopia achieving self-sufficiency in wheat, thanks to SAPZ that was implemented in Ethiopia. So this is something we can very much agree with. SAPZ being a game changer, being a driver in industrializing Africa's agriculture sector. And Cote d'Ivoire also is a country that, implemented SAPZ also with the support of African Development Bank. And it has created an enabling environment for industry players, from processor organizations like myself to primary producers, service providers, to work together collaboratively in harnessing the potential of the agricultural sector, giving emphasis and focus on value addition, industrialization, and livelihood enhancement of smallholder farmers. So I believe Nigeria SAPs in Nigeria can very much learn from the similar project that has been implemented in Ethiopia at the same time in Cote d'Ivoire by having the players work collaboratively together. In Cote d'Ivoire, for instance, you have strong corporate organizations, farmer corporate organizations that are well regulated, well coordinated, well monitored, and well supervised. That has enabled that cooperative to attract better support because we are talking about financing. One of the key factor of the driving financing to every sector or to every institutional organization is the structure they have. One of the challenges why financing seems to be very difficult in Africa at the first level, and specifically in Nigeria, where finance in Nigeria is even more difficult than in other African regions, is because of lack of an efficient structure. A lender will be very much happy and willing to support or to provide financing to organizations and institutions with a better structure, because that is one of the comforting factor that that financier will look at. So we can learn from countries like Cote d'Ivoire, countries like Ghana, countries like Ethiopia also, where they have well-structured farmer cooperative organizations. We do have cooperative organizations in Nigeria, of course. I'm a member of a couple of them, and we do have commodity association as well. My president is right there in the panelists, Letitia Balloon. But we can all agree to say that we do not really have a mechanism of supervising and regulating the activities of some of these cooperatives that we have, as well as even some farmer association that we have. So that is affecting our ability to attract financing. But I believe SAPZ can equally, support in enhancing that. In supporting farmers and cooperative and farmer cooperative organization to work more efficiently and more effectively. SAPZ is an all-local of financing, not just for the farmers as well, even for social organization, because SAPZ is providing the enabling environment for agriculture industrialization, putting the necessary infrastructure to drive value addition, processing, export, as Dr. Ojo have mentioned, the three aspects, which is the production, the processing, as well as the marketing. When you have these three things in place, financing becomes a lot more easier. The president made reference, inform us that the financing gap is even higher than 33 billion, mentioned around 65 billion. This financing, as we may know, is very much available. The only challenge is how can we unlock it? How can we, ensure to harness the financing? But we can all agree to say that these funds are available. These funds can be are very much available, and the funds are within our reach, but we are not able to attract this funding because of lack of our structure. So we should leverage SAPZ into putting the necessary structure that we need to drive So sorry, am I still audible?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, am I still audible, please?
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you. Can you hear
Hello?
me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can
Please,
hear you.
yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
So I said we can very much leverage SAPZ into enhancing the structures we have, into having to work collaboratively with primary producers as well as processor organization. What we need to have is to have a direct linkage, direct access between processors and primary producers. That will help in unlocking a great deal of finance to agricultural sector, particularly the Nigeria agricultural sector. But what we have currently in Nigeria is the link between, there is no direct link between primary producers and processor organization. As Roland have mentioned in his opening remarks, Nigeria is actually leading in production of a number of agro-commodities. But even in the commodities that we are actually leading, we are not even harnessing the full potential, or rather our full potential in the production of such commodities. We are basically leading in the production of such commodities because of the size of the land that we cultivate. So it's not really a discussion of productivity, but a discussion of having larger, area of land that we cultivate.
Yeah.
So, but I believe SAPZ as a special agro-industrial processing zone, which is here to support industrialization, value addition, and based on the current structure, is working with both process organization as well as primary producers. I think by creating or establishing a direct link between primary producers and processor organization, we can be able to unlock a great deal of financing that can go in supporting our agricultural sector.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Ishak. I mean, I think your point is well made, and I think the last point you made is very instructive. That look, we need to optimize primary production. We need to increase our productivity. Our yields, like we all know, they are the lowest, one of the lowest in the world across the board. So we need to increase our yields and improve our productivity so that we can optimize value addition and make money across the supply chain. All right. Our time is fast spent, so we're going to just take. We want to take. Maybe you have some comments, or you have an idea or something that we can harvest from this session. Please, we'd like to call upon you. Just raise up your hands, and then we'll take maybe one or two interventions from the audience. Can we see those who want to respond? Right? Sorry? Just one. Okay, yes. I'm being told that we just need just one. Yes, can we take that gentleman there, please? Can you just, let's give him the microphone, tell us your name, your organization, and then we'll take your point, and then we'll come back to the panelists. Briefly, just 2 minutes, each person, your takeaways in terms of how we can, what are the critical financing models or concepts you think that we can take away from this session to support the SAPZ and to support agro-industrialization in Africa? Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Just sharp, your name, your organization, and then your point.
Thank you so much, sir. The panelists and ladies and gentlemen, can you hear me?
No, speak louder, please. Speak louder.
Okay. My name is Prince Wasiu Ademola from Nigeria Agricultural Insurance Corporation. Okay. We've been discussing about agriculture over and over again. And we discovered that with our population today, and over 70% of the population, if I'm right, or more than 60%, are into agriculture, and we cannot meet the need in terms of production. Why in a country like the United States of America, only less than 10% are into agriculture, and they are producing in a mass, even in excess for export. Are we really addressing the core issue that inhibits the productivity in the Nigeria agriculture sector? 1. 2, the channelization of the interventions, either from the private sector or from the government, is it really getting to the people that are willing to practice agriculture in Nigeria? Another one, like my organization now, insurance, we provide a kind of security for people investment, particularly in agricultural sectors. Why the government and private sector? Because we have the resources in over 36 states of Nigeria, where we also monitor what the farmers are doing. Before we can, sell a policy to you, we need to do pre-insurance. We'll visit the site. We want to know maybe you have the farm or not. So, which means that we have first-class information because we are dealing with farmer directly. Why can't government, as a government institution like it is, why can't they even channel so that we can secure source intervention, ensure that we make use of it and maximize the production in Nigeria? Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. Who wants to go, who wants to take or respond to this? Maybe Mr. Sheriff, you want to respond? I mean, you are on the ground, you're an actor in the supply. I mean, you oversee over 70 value chains. You want to respond to that quickly?
I'll attempt to say something here because he did mention that in the U.S., only a very small percentage of farmers are growing. Well, for every country, you pass through a stage of development. Where we are now, 90% of our farmers are small-scale or subsistence farmers, farming on land of less than 1 hectare. So there's a number of reforms that needs to be in place. But if you look at it, it's a catch-22 situation. You need financing, you need the land, access to land. How do you get that land? You need money to be able to purchase the land. But there was the purchasing power of even the farmers. I do recall there was a program recently which sought to finance inputs for farmers, and which was just to finance 1 hectare of land for production of rice. And I think the economic of production then was about 600 and something thousand. But then I had a case where the farmers were told to bring in 50% of that fund, and I can tell you that only less than 10% were able to meet up with that, because the farmers are very poor people, only subsistence farmers. So it's very difficult for us to jump to that level where you have only 5% of people cultivating all the food. So unless those fundamental issues are addressed, the land tenure system, the structure, how do you give farmers access to land? And then how are they able to get the necessary funding? Then we'll move to mid-scale farmers and then large-scale farmers where you can farm on over 100 hectares and above. But I think it's a step. It's providing more in terms of employment. So even if we want to go full-blown mechanization and all of that, there are also factors that we need to consider, because you're going to disrupt a whole number of people from their primary area of livelihood sustenance. So if you take away, let's say you want to achieve 5% to do all the production, what do you do with the whole lot of people that you're going to displace? So it's food for thought. So our process in thinking of a solution has to be something that we think through all the way. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Alhaji Balogun, for that. All right, so let me just ask the panelists, except you have something, because of time, I'm being urged now to wrap up this. Does anybody have something very strong that you want to say as we wrap up? Or do we just take it one by one? Okay, let me start with you now. Please go ahead. Just 1 minute. 1 minute.
Yeah, so we want to strongly recommend that we look at decentralizing a lot of things in terms of financing agriculture, particularly de-risking. Different speakers have spoken about de-risking today, and I think it's time for us to stimulate collective accountability at the subnational level. So we should have a system where we have multiple de-risking products that are led by the subnationals, just like we have at the national level. I also want to strongly recommend some sort of an output-based subsidy program as an alternative to the input-based subsidy program. Because this is one of the things we have been piloting at different levels across different value chain, under different donor-funded program, which works. So if we can try that against the input-based subsidy program as well, maybe we can compare the results and see what comes out of it. This can give us some new ideas about financing agricultural industrialization. And finally, infrastructure is the major challenge in agricultural industrialization. Financing infrastructure, however, is not attractive even to the private sector. So it is more of a public good investment. But what can we do possibly to create like a public partnership, a public-private partnership framework for agricultural infrastructure investment? So when we have something that blend the investment requirement from the public and the private sector, maybe we can have infrastructure at different levels across our land.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I mean, that point is taken. Output-based subsidy program, subnational de-risking tools. All right, over to you, Mr. Ojo.
Okay. All right.
Majikudomi, sorry.
Yes, maybe three things to add and not to repeat, Mr. Ojo. I think one is that it's important to crowd in private sector financing into the SAP zones, right? And the way to do it is to set them up in a way that they clearly demonstrate that the investments have been de-risked, whether it's through the infrastructure that's set up or through the clustering of the smallholder farmers for easy aggregation. But that de-risking needs to be factored into the design of the SAPZs. The second thing is we shouldn't forget inclusivity. And so as we think about the concessions for the SAPZ, it's important that inclusive parameters and metrics are embedded into those concessions and incentives that are given to people that are brought on board. And not to overflog the issue, the financing architecture around the SAPZ designs need to be fit for purpose, fit for the value chains that are relevant at the different subnational levels, whether it's for the production side or processing side. And then my final thought is, it all boils down to implementation, and so the governance and the administration of the SAPZs needs to be pretty hands-on to make sure that they are carrying the right ecosystem actors along and co-shaping the design for the SAPZs at the different subnational levels. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to Alhaji Balogun.
Yes, thank you. I think for me, my take will be to overflog the issue of infrastructure. Because if we take care of infrastructure, I think even just from the post-harvest loss that we have a situation where about 40 to 50% post-harvest loss will be taken care of. Roads, cold chain system, warehouses, and then primary processing. If we can, take care of that infrastructure, I think it will be a big leap. And then secondly, I think we have to be thinking about secondary zones, apart from the SAPZ, secondary zones, that will also be feeding into that SAPZ zone, where you have a situation where it's saturated, but what about surrounding areas also? We can have those zones that will become a feeder into the SAPZ. That's my take.
All right, thank you so much. I think a lot of points, I'm sure there are note takers somewhere for this session, but I took away some key points. I'll just highlight them as we begin to wrap up.
Roland, if I may.
Sorry? Oh, please, I'm very sorry. Yeah, let's take you. Just 30 seconds, 1 minute. Yeah. Please go ahead.
So I think this is one of the downside of running a session like this virtually. People get to forget you are there. So I want to just buttress on 2 points. I think I will agree with what the Majid mentioned about inclusivity is very important. And I want to focus on financing also. Yes, the zones are there, but I remember last year when at the African Investment Forum in Morocco, the immediate past president of the AFDB mentioned that AFDB will put aside about $200 million to support tenants in the SAPZ. I think this is very important because it will enhance the players' capability into utilizing the zones, and it will support in ensuring inclusivity. So I think we also need to look at our financing architecture. Right now in Nigeria, the finance architecture we have is not supporting medium and small scale agro processors in the country. So we really need to design a tailored financing intervention that will support the tenant in the SAPZ. I believe this will enhance utilization of the zones, so that we will not end up, having the zones and eventually not being fully utilized by the players.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, good point, good point. All right, just 1 minute to wrap up the whole, just to summarize the points. I like the idea of this sector-specific investment mobilization. You're crowded in private financing by looking at sector coordination, identifying high-impact investors and supporting them, to access funding, which is what the Cassava program is doing. I think we need to replicate that across several value chains. I also like the idea of secondary zones feeding into the main zones. And I want to challenge FACAN, because look, if you ask me, those who are most qualified to operate, to be tenants in these zones are trading companies. They understand the procurement of raw materials. So if they can be incentivized, assisted to prepare their documentation so that they can move up the supply chain from just trading to backward integration, they can set up, they can move both ways, backward or forward, okay? They can set up processing, and then they can also procure raw materials from their already established contacts in the supply chain. Okay, I think the other important point is the subnational de-risking tools, which we mentioned. I think it's critical. We should go beyond federal to go down to the subnationals, even local councils, which we all know they'll be getting a lot of funding very soon with this new system that's going to take place. So I think a lot has been said here today. I'm sure we've taken down, gotten a lot of ideas. So let's go home and reflect on these points, and then let's go to work with some of these ideas. Thank you so much, the panelists. Thank you, audience, for your participation. Yeah. Thank you so much,
Thank
everyone.
you so much.
Yes,
a huge round of applause for all of our speakers tonight. Thank you so much for your contribution. Before I invite my director and coordinator to wrap up and give us the highlights of this event, Mr. Richard Mark Mbaram, I would like to quickly inform. We were supposed to have a feedback from the breakout session we had earlier, but we didn't have that, so we are going to have that tomorrow morning. That will be our first agenda as our recap for tomorrow. So please be informed. Let's come early so that we can begin early and carry on properly. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we at this juncture are just about to wrap things up. If you could be so kind, the fact is that we have a host here, and he is somewhere behind. We want to just have the last word to be given to us by the Senior Special Advisor, Assistant to the President, Alhaji Idris Ajimobi, just to close things out. Tomorrow he's going to also be very involved with us. He's been here all day, and the facilitation, the commitment, the hands-on engagement. Please give it up. This is a gentleman that I can vouch for is giving his principal, the kind of service that is frontline. And it's only befitting that he closes us out tonight. I would have loved to say a whole lot about the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones program, being that it's a program that is under my auspices. But I will spare that for tomorrow morning. As my colleague had said, we're going to, recap and basically just go into some serious conversations in the morning tomorrow. Alhaji Idris Ajimobi, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to keep it brief because I can see that we're all very tired and ready to go home. Good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Delegates, permit me to stand on existing protocol as we draw the curtain on day one of the Africa Agricultural Dialogue 2025. I wish to express our deep appreciation to the African Development Bank, our co-organizers, and to every one of us, and to every participant who has brought ideas, energy, and commitment to Abuja. Today, we have seen Africa at its best, thoughtful, visionary, and determined to chart our own path, its own path to food security and prosperity. We have heard from policymakers, financiers, farmers, and innovators, all united by one conviction, that Africa's agricultural future will be built on finance, partnership, and purpose. For Nigeria, it is a privilege to co-anchor this historic gathering, the first ever held on African soil. Our goal is simple and clear: to turn conversation into commitment and commitments into capital that transform lives across our fields, farms, and livestock communities. As we look forward to tomorrow's session, let us sustain this momentum. Let us leave no idea unexplored, no partnership untapped, and no farmer behind. Together, we can unlock the financing that will power Africa's agricultural transformation. May tomorrow bring even greater insight, stronger collaboration, and renewed resolve. Thank you, and God bless. May God bless our continent and bless the work of our hands. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think he deserves a standing ovation. You know why? I just told this guy about this just here, and Honorable Ajimobi, I mean, there are some words on the marble that you've just uttered here that it beats me silly. If I didn't know that I just threw this on you, I would have said, okay, the guy had, it's premeditated and stuff, but it's spur of the moment. But it goes to show the caliber and the quality of the folks that are behind this, our president, who is also the Asiwaju. Please remember that word. Asiwaju means leading from up front. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless.